Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're on.
You're a laugh. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the paint party. I'm so excited to be here. I've had my cup of coffee. Wherever you are in the world, I'd love you to put it into the chat so we know where you're coming from. It's been Thanksgiving in the States, so I know a lot of you are not able to make it today.
Not yet. I don't know.
I think it is. I think it was. Well, I think it was yesterday. So, but rolling into today, if it's anything like our Christmas. So we are going to record this and it will be put up into my YouTube channel, but it should be a lot more fun to be here. I hope you've got your paints, whatever palettes you've got is all good. I've just kind of grabbed a bit of everything, which I put into the chat. Sounds like it's coming through. It's feeding back a little bit. And so we're also, the setup is pretty new, so hopefully everything will work. I've got a fan going, there's guys next door doing work, so there might be a little bit of other noise happening, but you know, this is my studio and there is lots of people. There's a sale going on down our laneway, so there'll be lots of people walking through and chatting and stuff, but that's all good. I'm going to paint these 3, you can probably see a couple of them behind me. They're all just fresh canvas, unstretched canvas that we've just stretched onto boards. And I'm going to use 3, I'm going to show you exactly what I do when I start paintings. And it's just exploration. When I start, it's the most fun stage for me because I just get colors that light me up and I get a palette out and I just throw paint on. I have fun. I'm looking for different marks. I'm really not thinking at all about an outcome. And I think that's the most difficult thing for artists that I see that comes through my studio or comes through my classes, is that wanting to get to this finished stage far too early. And certainly at this point, I'm playing. I'm not thinking about finish. I'm thinking about what's going to light me up about this particular palette. What can I follow that I'm enjoying about what I'm doing, rather than thinking about outcome at all. And particularly when I'm not really in the midst of creating a collection, I'm just kind of finding inspiration for my next lot of work. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. So I am creating pieces that I'm putting up on social media, but there's no real cohesion to what I'm creating at the moment. It's very much an exploration phase. So that's what I'm going to be doing today.
Bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping, if you've got a mic,
just mute it until...
Yeah, if you could mute, because that will make it easier for everyone to hear. But if you have any questions, probably don't put them into the chat.
Yeah, you can put them
put them into the chat, or raise your hand and we can bring you on and you can ask me the questions. That would be great.
Yeah, great. And music requests?
Yeah, we're going to, when I'm creating, we're going to put music on so that you can create at the same time as me. So if you've got any requests, we've got Ricky doing the DJing. And,
no, I'm not DJing, it's Spotify.
Ricky's DJing Spotify. And I've told him it's like my kind of music, but we'll see how he goes with that.
There'll be no Rage Against the Machine. Okay.
No. So every now and then I'll say, okay, we'll put on a song, and for the length of the song, we'll just kind of paint on one of our canvases. So at the same time as I'm doing it, you can either be watching or you can be creating yourself. But I kind of want you all to paint with me. It's a paint party. It's, we're all in our studios. We're all, a lot of us are often just create on our own. And I know the day that I have other artists come in here, which is a Friday, it's such a fun day because we're all painting together. And that's the idea of today. From all over the world, we can paint together.
I can see a few people in the studios. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Morning, Robbie. Morning, Maggie. How are we all?
There's a few people here from Messy Middle.
Yeah, Messy Middle.
Which is awesome. I will talk a little bit about the next Messy Middle, and I'll also talk a little bit about Art and Soul, but that'll be a bit later. I just really want to get some paint onto one of these boards.
Are you palletizing?
So I'm going to start the first paint. I hope you're all ready. And I'm just going to start with a couple of colours that's a good way for me to begin. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to grab, are you going to put down to the,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll be talking about palette first, babe.
No.
So the first one I'm going to do is quinacridone magenta. And I'm going to grab some, this is just green gold. So if you don't have the Australian green gold, it's all good. I've also got the gold in here. Any kind of green gold I love. And these are all just transparent paints. I love painting with transparents and then bringing on opaques at a bit of a later stage. So I often start with my transparents. And I'm going to put some Prism Violet from Liquitex. So I'm going to start here and see where I go. I often spray my paints when they're on the palette just to get them a little bit more watery.
Mm-hmm.
I often start with quite watery paints. So, and I'll grab a fairly big brush. Not that big. So you can't see my brushes, but I've got a whole lot in front of me. I'm going to use a hog brush, and that's these are often used for oil painting or acrylics, and they're quite hard, so you get a good stroke from your paints. I really love it when I have a palette and I can get my colors kind of happening all together on the one palette.
Yeah, very well. You're too quick.
The thing I love about these colors, these three in particular, is that they blend so well together. So I love it when I see, I'm going to add some of my, I'm not sure if I put fluoro pink onto my list of paints that I paint with, but I always have fluoro pink somewhere. So bear with me if you didn't get that in the palette, I'm sure you knew that it would be there. So I love these brushes because they really allow you to get some marks into the paint. And you either love that or you don't. I love it. I love seeing the stroke of the brush and what it makes, especially in these early layers. But actually, in any stage, it's pretty cool. And I love it when the colors blend like that. That lights me up.
Hey, Lynn, you got here. I can see you.
I did. Lynn's there.
Oh, Kerry's there too. Hi, Kerry.
Awesome.
All the way from North Carolina.
And at this point, I really want to get to sort of like colors popping. I'm looking for the little magic bit. So I don't necessarily need all of my colors in this early stage to blend with each other. I like getting a little bit of color spread between them.
I really. Are you? Okay. Better keep me on the toes.
Oh yeah, you've got to
keep switching.
You got to keep switching. I love this purpley color with the green. So I'm trying to keep it out of that pink area and just get the green and this together. Check out that kind of color. It's so nice. I hope you've all got spray bottles. It's a really good place to begin and get some good drips. I have a love-hate relationship with drips. I like some drips, not too many, but this is a good stage to get some good drippage in these early layers.
Do you want to see the gallery of everyone as well? We can switch it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Much as I can see without my glasses on that closely, but yeah. I can. So change up your brushes as you're painting. I do. I like to get different kinds of marks in these early stages and different shapes. So I've gone to a really floppy brush now just to get some different kinds of shapes on there. And also there's something I haven't put onto the palette is white.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And it's, really good to also come in with these light colours. Now, when I do start, are you going to put the gallery up, babe?
I will.
When I do start, I try and keep my colours a little bit separate in these early layers. Otherwise, they just, particularly because I know I'm going to be coming back to this one, I don't want them to all blend too much. I kind of want them to dry a little bit between me painting this so that the colours remain quite bright and vivid.
How's that? Have you got that now?
Oh, there you go. Hi, everyone. Now I can see you all. Who can I see painting? Are you painting? Yes.
Oh, Kathleen's got
That's awesome.
Sure.
Yes, at this stage, I love seeing the whites of the canvas underneath popping through, but I also love putting a little bit of lighter colours on there. But ultimately, I just want to see colour. I love colour, and there's lots of time for me to pull back at a later stage. I like beginning with a lot of colour because it lights me up. And that's what gets me back to the studio, is when I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing on the canvas. And so I'm going to put a lot of colour on these early layers so it lights me up. And as I said before, if you can notice, I'm not going really into a lot of the areas I've already painted. And there's a rhyme and a reason for that, is because I don't want the whole lot to become mud too early. If I bring in mud, I kind of want me to be in control of the mud. It doesn't always happen, but it's good to sort of start off in this early stage and keep them a little bit separate. So this is just those colours. I put nothing else onto the palette but the purple, quinacridone magenta, and green.
Hang on, overhead, yeah. Oh, it's gone again. How was the Vegemite muffin, Maggie? Was it good?
Now I might bring in a different brush. I really like swapping between brushes just to get different. Actually, I might just bring something on like this just to get a totally different kind of mark. I really want to get that beautiful, that green and that purple.
Fast food. Today.
What's that?
Maggie just had fast food Vegemite muffin. If anyone overseas doesn't know what Vegemite is, you've got to try it. It's the best.
I think everyone knows that Australians are mad for Vegemite.
You can buy it in the States in some stores. It's still Aussie products.
I'm a Kiwi. I'm not Australian, so Vegemite. Not about. I don't mind it a little bit, but not as much as most Aussies do.
Oh, there's Jane. I saw you, Jane. There you are.
Jane was here yesterday.
Got it working.
Hello.
Awesome.
Yay.
Jane's one of my artists that comes on Fridays.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Thank you.
Well. And Emma, were they
Chris?
joining today?
Chris, maybe. So, I've got quite a bit going on, and I love it. Like this is a really hard brush. Where are they? There. This is a really hard brush. It's honestly like a kid's brush.
Is it
and
dry?
all of these are.
Is it because it's dry, or it's just a hard?
They're just hard,
Right.
so that when you put it onto the canvas, you can scrape it.
Yeah.
And it just gives a completely different effect than a brush that is soft. And so you can get some really cool marks, particularly in these early layers. I like getting a lot of this stuff happening. Some people don't like that, but I love it. So you've really got to find what you love and do more of that. That looks like a pretty good start to that one. I might let that dry. And you'll see, I do that a lot. Like I don't try and overpaint my layers, because as soon as you overpaint your layers, they all run into each other too early on.
You want the other white one or the darker one?
We'll go the other white one.
Over there.
So if you've got a second piece, we're going to swap to a different palette. Oh,
I don't want to be on camera.
okay.
Can't show my face on the desk.
Okay, so that was my first, and I'll come back to that and keep developing it. Now I'm going to move to blues and yellows and browns.
Over there. Right.
So I've got a Van Dyke brown. I really love this because it's almost black, but
Golden.
it's a golden color, yeah, but you can get it in other brands. But just to show you this beautiful color.
Hilda's up in Norway. Norway must be late for you, Hilda. 11 p.m. or something. Thanks for joining.
Look at that gorgeous color. Get a sponge brush and do something different with it. It's so.
Wow. Oh, hang on. Where are you? You've gone again.
Where are you now?
I got you.
Okay, you're going to have to keep up. Just so nice. So I want this one to be a bit different than the last one. So I'm just going to go heavy on this color first.
It's quite dark in the overhead, is it? Similar.
Does it look black?
Yeah, blackish.
Well, the way that you see it's not black is when I do that, and you can see that it's got this beautiful kind of yellowy feel into that black.
Yeah, yeah. You can see it on that.
Get another little brush. Something different. No, that one. This is just, I like swapping between big brushes and smaller brushes to get the different marks onto there early on.
Bit of Lou Reed.
So much like the other one, all I'm doing is just kind of having fun with shapes, and it can be quite good to start off with just simple. You could do this with black, or you could just do this with a very, very dark color, and it just gives you really good contrast to begin with. Again, I'm not worrying at this point what my marks are like. I'm just trying to get, fill my canvas, but not too overfill it. I'm just kind of trying to get some interesting marks on there. I might add another brown. So this is the red oxide. This one's from Golden, but they also do it in Matisse. Put a bit of that in there and see what we get there. In these early layers, when I'm doing this, I want my brush to feel quite free. I don't really want it to feel too practiced, too intentional. I just want to get some happy accidents. So many people say that they love their first layers, and then from there it goes downhill. And I think it's because in the early layers we're not caring so much about outcomes, so we just let go and let the paint do what the paint's got to do. And if you can bring that kind of attitude to each layer, really let go of things that you like, so that the painting can paint itself in some ways. I mean, I know that you obviously need to bring your critical brain in with what do I like? That's, what do I want to follow? But so often I bring my critical brain into what I like and what I want to follow, and then I let it go when I'm painting. So I'm quite happy to lose things that I like in the process.
Cool.
I might bring in even something lighter now. Bring in a little bit of, I said, okay, what I'm doing here, we're on the palette now.
Yep.
is transparent yellow oxide. So again, if you look at all the paints that I've used so far, they're all transparent. I love, love, love transparent paints. I mean, I love opaque paints when I need to balance these. So it's just a palette knife I'm grabbing now.
Why are you using transparent on a white background? Wouldn't you use transparent on opaque colours over the top? No, you use on more solids to show different blends between. I don't know. I'm just Adam.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ricky.
Well, you're doing transparent on white.
Yeah, that's when you do use transparent on white. That's when you get those beautiful, almost watercolor effect.
Okay.
And I love that effect. I love what it does against the white. So I quite often, mostly start with transparents. I love what happens to transparents when you then bring in opaques, but I like starting with transparents. This is straight out of the tube because I want to get it a bit thicker. And it's just blending a bit much on my palette. So
Just so much water.
Just a little.
Well, it's blending with all the other colours. Yes, because there's lots of water, but that will just give me I want to see what that colour looks like on there. So I'll put it on with my finger just to get it nice and thick. Also, with your finger, you can get different shapes that you can't get in any other way. Do any of you finger
A deal's
paint?
a deal.
Okay, what I think I might bring in now, because I love all those colours together, is just a little bit of pencil. Love just the fine lines that pencil brings. And you may cover over these, but sometimes a bit might peek through, and that will be so interesting. And you can afford to go quite hard with pencil, as in you can be quite crazy with it. It creates shapes that nothing else does. If you've got any questions, let me know.
Okay.
So there you go. I think that's a really good early layer. I don't want to do too much more until it just starts getting a little bit drier. It won't dry completely, but I want it to dry a little bit before I put anything else on top of it. So that's where I say I kind of, in these early layers, I do try to stop and not work too fast. Give the painting a little bit of breathing time and give myself a little bit of breathing time from this particular canvas. So if you don't do it yet, try and swap between works, even if they're like small, even if you're working on a 6x6. I often will have 6 of them on my table at once. So I'm going from one to the next, because you can get so focused on one and the painting itself loses a little bit of breathing space that it needs, I think, to grow into where it wants to be. I'm going to swap to another board. Okay. My last one is raw canvas. I just had a piece in the studio and I thought it would be fun to use a piece of raw canvas. I'll take this one down. We'll bring the other one up. Okay, I'm going to do a pink. I'm going to go mad on pinks for this one.
Let me get back to the overhead. Okay.
I know a lot of you.
Might want to,
I know a lot of you like my pink palette, and I know a lot of you are not pink people. But this one, I'm just going to go hard on all the reds and pinks and deep kind of deep reds. and just see what we can get to with those. So I've got quinacridone magenta. I've got the fluoro pink. I'm using the permanent maroon. I'm going to put some quinacridone red.
Now, Catherine's asked a question. How did you get into painting? There you go.
Probably where a lot of people started. I did art at school. I was reminiscing with a girlfriend that I still know from my school days, and we were both in art class together. And I did Carla, yeah.
Huh?
We both did in New Zealand. It was school certificate, which was when we were 15, and then we did a university entrance when we were 16, 17. And I don't think she did art. She went into art college straight after school, but I did it there. And that's what started my love of it. And then I went into graphic design when I left school and went and studied graphic design. And I was in graphic design and then art direction, and then had my own ad agency for many years until I kind of painted in the background, but it wasn't until my 40s that I got really back into it. Okay, so if you have a look at my palette,
Yep.
I've got a few reds and pinks on there and maroons. I've grabbed another kind of hard brush, but I'm going to let you all paint. So we're going to put a song on.
Oh.
And for the length of the song, I'm just going to grab whatever pinks, light pinks, dark pinks I can, and I'm just going to paint away on this for one length of a song. I really love doing this. So if you're painting by yourself at home, it's great to have a restriction of something. So a time restriction can be, let's just paint for one song and then stop. I find that works quite well when we're in my classes, that we can only paint for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Good.
Ballot.
Seven women on my mind. For the one on me, two, the one who stoned me once, so she's a friend of mine. Take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up while you still can. Don't even try to understand. To make your stand, take it easy. Well, I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. It's such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Come on, baby, don't say baby. Take it easy. Sound of your own wheels make you crazy. Come on, baby, don't say baby. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me.
It's just paint straight out of that bottle.
Oh, good.
Okay, there you go. So, and that's kind of fun, right? Painting for one song and then just stopping. And I love it because I wasn't thinking at all while I was painting that. I was just so in the song and so just in the limited palette. Because in a way, when you're only painting with one range of colors, it is really limited, but it's pretty cool. I love it. So that's 3 starts on 3 canvases. And I'm going to go back to the first one because I just kind of want to keep moving between them. So if you're keeping up with me, just move between your palettes. It's great. I can see you all painting out there.
Yeah, awesome.
That's just so good. Love seeing it all. Wow.
All right. Now, which one do you want to use?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to number 1.
Which was that one?
That's that one.
Okay, so that one.
I know a lot of you may not be able to have the space to paint as big as I am.
Bit of water, paint fires.
Oh.
Get on them.
Back to this one. And it's good because, you know, when I look at this one now, is that music too loud, babe?
I'll turn it down here.
When I go back to this one, it's not completely dry, but it is quite dry. So whatever I do on top, it's still going to keep those layers underneath, which I really, really want to. So I'm going to swap back to this palette. Can you see that?
Yep.
And I'll just, first of all, actually, if you could come back here.
Back to the Sony. Yeah.
What I do now, because I've given this one a little bit of a break, you know, when I get into a canvas, I'm just thinking just solely about the one that I'm on. So I'm back at the one that I did third. So I now come back to this one and I say to myself, what is it that I want to follow? What are the bits that I like? And I really love these creamy areas next to some of these. Like that lights me up, that color there and there lights me up next to each other. I'm not so keen on where the pinks are going in this. I love where the oranges and the browns are going. So now that I've done this early stage, I don't need to continue. What I want to do is pull out the bits that I love and go down that path even more. So I'm looking at these kind of the orangey creams and greens. That's what I want to follow. Mm-hmm. So I can see my palette here has got this magenta on it.
Yep.
I'm actually going to get a cloth and there's not too much of it on there. So actually what I would do is I've got that magenta happening on another palette. So I'm going to transfer as much of it as I can before I get rid of it, because I know that that's going to really, there will still be some of it on the palette, which will help, but I don't want too much of it because quinacridone magenta will really take over a palette. So I've got rid of as much of it as I can. And now I'm going to put on, I might just get a cloth just so I get a little bit more off there. And now I'm going to put more on the colors that I really want to follow. So the colors I really want to follow on this was that green. So I'm going to put some more of the green gold. I'm grabbing actually the golden green gold. And I'm going to get more of the purpley color that I had, which is a Liquitex. Be quite generous with that. And I'm going to put more white on here. This is titanium white I've got. I'll just stay here for the moment and see what that does to my painting. I'll also put some black because at this stage I like to kind of push the two edges. So I like to get the lights and the darks happening. So I'll put a little bit of black on there. But I won't start with that. What I'll start with is these two together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can't hear the music. Was too distorted in the frame. Okay, we've got to turn it up next time. Sylvina has asked, how do you know which colours work well with each other? And yes, that's baking paper, Catherine, underneath the palette.
Okay, are we on the camera now? We don't on palette?
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, how do I know? Well, I am using colours that I love. Like I do love my green golds. I love quinacridone magenta. I love my purples. I do have my favorites. Obviously, I'm putting a lot of my favorites on my palette to paint with you. But at the same time, I don't know what, a particular palette might do. Like I did not predict that orangey color. So in the early stage, I may not choose a palette that I enjoy. I might choose colors that are a bit odd. And that's okay because this is such an early stage. That's the beautiful thing about acrylic painting is that you can do many layers. And I could send this palette somewhere completely different. What I like to do is I like to follow what I love. And what I really loved was that greeny kind of brown color more than I did that magenta. So now that I know I love that, I will push the palette in a direction that I love. So I'm going to want to get more of that onto my painting so that I can push it towards a direction that I love. How do I know if they work well together? You can use, I do it intuitively now because I've been painting for a while. But if you have a look at your color wheel, choose one from either side. So if you go in yellows, you might choose to pair it with blues. Greens and pinks, I know they work well together. So it's a good, easy.
Deni, can I please have those bracelets? They're rattling. It sounds like they're really loud. Every time you talk, they go, oh.
Yes.
Silence,
Yes, Ricky.
silence is golden.
Like those colors I love, love, love. And I might go over the top with this layer because I'm just kind of like putting them on there, getting quite a bit of them on there, but that's okay because I'm in such an early stage. Okay, now that I've got a lot of that yummy, meaty kind of color, there you go, I can back to there.
Meaty, chunky, what is it?
I'm going to get some of this back on there, which I said I really love the difference that's happening between the creams and some of those colors on top. So I'm going to try and create a little bit of space between some of these colors. And if you have a look at the palette now,
yep.
I'm allowing that white and some of the colors to blend. So all of the colors are from the same palette. That's how you know you'll get cohesion, when you allow your colors to all blend together so that they're all from the same family. Like that cream is a mixture of white and all the colors that are already on the palette. So I know it's going to be a pretty happy family together because they're all from the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to get more of that kind of creamy color. I'm actually really loving that combo today. I don't ever really, I sometimes use my favorite palettes, but right now I'm just kind of looking for those happy color combinations that happen. And I love that color. So today I love that color. Who knew that today was going to be a cream day? And Jane, you're there somewhere.
Yep.
Jane comes and does my mentoring on Fridays, and it was a really big day for Jane when she realized that she could just paint with colors that she loved. And it's amazing that, you just get to choose, oh my God, I love greens, and all I'm going to do today is paint with greens. I'm going to give myself the freedom to do that. And without needing the painting to go anywhere, you just explore with greens. Today I feel like, wow, where could I take this painting if I just put a lot more cream into it? And then look at how beautifully cream blends with all the colors that are, even when they're underneath, it's just such a gorgeous combination. For me, I love it. So you find those things in your palette that are lighting you up. You may have loved the quinacridone magenta and your painting might be heading down that direction.
Is that rain again?
It sounds like rain.
Yeah. It's yucky in Sydney today. I went out to get the coffee on the way through and it was all cloudy, fog, like a fog. It was weird.
Yeah, we're summer. Well, yeah, almost. We're summer tomorrow here in Sydney.
Oh, yes, true.
So it's humid and wet today.
Yeah, really humid. That's right.
Look at that. Yum. I hope you can see that. You probably need to be closer, but those whites and creams are just looking so beautiful together. And when I'm painting, I'm not thinking about what I'm hiding underneath, really. I'm just kind of like enjoying making the marks that I am. I'm trying to get a good spread across the canvas, but ultimately, not really caring about what I cover underneath. Just really enjoying those dark colours with these light colours.
Lost it. There you are.
Let's swap brushes now. I've been painting with that one for a while. I sometimes get caught up in a brush and I forget to swap between. I'll get out. This one's just a brush from a
Wait, that one.
hardware store.
Yep.
So I like these cheap brushes. I come back to the palette.
Yep.
Ooh, that looked like a nice, interesting combo. Let's put it up here and see what it gets.
He's a purple in it.
Well, it does, and it is down there.
Yeah.
But I've not used it sort of on its own as much. I'm not. We'll put it in there and see whether I do like it or not. I'll give it a go.
Give it a crack.
Give it a crack. I've got that colour in
Oh, there.
with my greens. There. I want to get in some darks. I might just bring a little bit of the black in. See what that does. I like getting some real contrast between my lights and my darks. Even at this early stage of the painting, I like being able to see some real pops of dark and light because it's the contrast that really lights a painting up. So if you're feeling like, oh, what is it? Why is this painting not coming to life? More often than not, it'll be because you're not pushing your darks enough and your lights enough.
Hey, Mackenzie, got a question? You can unmute if you want. Ask.
Hey. Yeah, so
Oh,
it was
people
actually
get
a
sound.
relevant. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, you got you now?
It was about the paintbrush swap. So I noticed when I was, and it might just be that the canvas was wet at the time, but everything was starting to get a little too muddy. And just knowing when that change is necessary, I guess you were using the creams, and obviously there's a lot of the heavier pinks and some of the greens. So just knowing, I guess your method on knowing when you've got to step away from the brush and swap. In this case, you were really trying to get the creams, and I was trying to follow along, and I was like, I'm making a mess here in a way that I don't want to make a mess.
Yeah, and I so understand that. And honestly, sometimes I'll go too far and I just need to put it aside and let it dry. It's something that I do probably more than anything as I'm walking around a class, as I say, let it dry before you do anything more. Let it dry before you do anything more, because you lose so much if you don't give space. You know, it's almost like we try and rush through paintings to get somewhere and don't give the painting time to breathe. I can get really stuck on a brush as well. And sometimes I like giving myself the challenge of painting an entire painting with one brush. But it's restrictions. So maybe put a timer on for yourself and just have a little, 1 minute, and then it goes ding. And it's just something that says, oh, okay, time to change a brush, rather than having to rely on yourself to know that, because we all get distracted, particularly when we've got beautiful paint. So a little minute timer will do it. And then I'll just swap between brushes. And I'm constantly needing to remind myself of that too, Mackenzie. So that's not unusual. But it's really cool when you bring something different on and you can get some of these different things that you can get with different brushes. You reminded me then to grab something different. And I did go quite hard on the cream with one brush because that particular brush that I chose, I could get a lot of paint onto it. I can't get a lot of paint onto this. think this is a toilet brush, is it?
I'm not saying.
It's never been used in a
Yeah, no, it
toilet.
wasn't our toilet brush, exactly, it wasn't, no.
But I did pick it up and think, oh, I wonder what that does. And it does a really nice sweep because it's so hard.
Yeah.
The bristles are so hard, the paint doesn't stick to it. So it's basically, I'm just using it to take paint across the painting in a different way. Whereas
You can use them for back scratches as well, though.
this one here is really kind of sloppy. And I know that that's going to put a lot of paint onto the brush and it's going to put a lot of kind of opaque areas onto my canvas. So that's what happens when you use that type of brush. And it's experimenting, you know, what do all the different brushes do and what are they going to, what effect am I looking for? So the more you just, you know, I have quite a few brushes. You know, in front of me, I've probably got about 50 brushes. So I'm just grabbing, you know, a lot of them are the same, but I do have, you know, like lots of right in front of me. So I suggest you do. And a lot of my brushes are not expensive. So I go to hardware shops for these really long ones.
Those ones with the crooked end.
I get asked about these ones all the time. And I got them from, in Australia, it's Bunnings, but it's just a hardware shop.
Get them from paint stores.
And they're so good because you can really kind of, and I will use these today. They just allow you to not be too practiced in your movements. Then I have a lot of these ones, which again, these are cheap brushes that I got. I did get them from an art shop, but they're like $6 Australian dollars for a brush. I do have a few more expensive ones, but I have a lot of cheap brushes. These are just hog brushes. I've got lots and lots of these. They're hard. So like I said at the beginning, that will give a really good hard line on the paint. And then I have, these ones are a little bit more expensive, but little ones for little lines. You know, even on a big painting, I'll use these to give me some good lines. So they're those ones. So just building up your collection of different types of brushes. This one here is a kid's brush. So it's hard and it's just from a kid's painting set. So I just know my favorites, but at the same time, I like having a lot. I've got a sponge brush here. I've got some really big, thick ones like that.
Where's the ones you got from Tenterfield when we were up there? Those funny looking ones in that store. They were weird. Anyway, not to worry.
Don't remember. So what I'll do now is so I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm going to swap now that, you know, I've done quite a bit on this one and I love where that cream went and I love that I've kind of pushed it out of the pink area into kind of more of greens and oranges. So I'm feeling good here.
Paint as makeup up the top there too.
Oh, good. Awesome.
On that eye.
Best kind of makeup.
Yeah.
So I'm going to swap out this.
Yep.
Bring back my brownie painting.
All right, 2 seconds. Which one? The brown one. That one. Okay. I'll do this and I'll take that. Just cool.
Okay, and I'll do the same with the palettes. I'll bring this palette back on, not that there's much on it. I was going to send this one in a kind of a blue, and I might do that. I might put some blue onto the palette. One of the hardest colors I find to paint with is blue. I'm not sure why that is. I love it when it's on my paintings, but I find it challenging to paint with. So I'm going to bring some of that on, but I'm also going to grab some white just to really lighten it. They do look beautiful next to each other, actually. Look at that brown and that blue. So I'm going to put some of that into here. Okay, what we might do, so everyone painting at home, we might put on a song.
Yep.
And I'll just paint with the blues and the browns on this canvas.
Oh,
so wherever you are, just kind of paint away for the length of whatever song Ricky decides we're going to paint to.
Okay, where are you? Are you on your overhead yet? Okay. Let's see if we can get this. was it. Thank you, Carrie. I think that sorted it. The noise cancellation was on.
Oh, do you want to put the music down?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it was the noise suppression was affecting the audio up and down.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was your singing.
I wasn't singing. I wasn't singing, Ricky. Yeah, so we'll just have a little look at what happened and, you know, where you're at with yours, because, look, that's the best way for me is to have a song, because I am zero thinking about what I'm doing. I'm grabbing paint, I'm putting it on, and that's where I want to be when I'm creating. Because, you know, look, I've got so many things that I love that's going on with this. It's by no means compositionally great or, you know, there with a particular palette, but I've got some interesting stuff that's appearing between everything that I'm doing here. So this is where I want to be on the early layers. I want to have stuff that I want to follow, and I can clarify and take away and put more dark areas in other layers. But at this point, I'm looking for kind of magic. Like, I love this dark area here. There's this beautiful little mark here. I love that I've got all the variation between these beautiful clear areas and these interesting marks. And that blue and the way it's working with the grays.
Let me try the other camera.
It's this gorgeous color that's happening between the blues and the grays. So, you know, this is not necessarily a palette that I do a lot, but I'm loving it. So it's an experiment when I'm doing these when I'm doing these early layers. I could push this somewhere completely different, but right now on this particular one, I want to explore that gray and blue area, but also with these really chunky dark areas. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to completely go down that direction with this one. I also love the light pencil lines that are coming through. So like I say, at the moment, I've got a lot happening everywhere. I will look at clarifying and simplifying in later layers, but right now I'm just looking for lots of interest. So I'll move this one now. It's kind of got enough wet paint on it that I need it to dry, and I'll go back to the kind of pink explosion.
Now, Kathleen's asked, what kind of things do you draw on the canvas with? Which one are you doing, by the way?
This one, that's coming off too.
Oh, yes.
What kind of things do I draw on the canvas with?
Oh, I think pencils and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I use pencils, but I also use a lot of oil pastels. So I've got these Sennelier oil pastels that I love. Often I don't put them into too many early layers because the paint doesn't stick to them. So I don't like them to be too much underneath because that can really affect the paint on top. So I tend to bring these things on when I'm closer to somewhere. But these things can be the thing that can take a painting from nowhere near finished to it gets there really quickly. But I won't bring those on yet. So at the moment, the only things I'll really put onto the canvas is either I'll draw into the paint with a palette knife, that's all those scrapes that you see, or I'll use a pencil and I'll go directly onto the canvas. You won't see it too much on this raw canvas, but it's still some of those little surprises that you can get that you may see sometimes that makes a painting. So that's it for me. I sometimes use Posca. I don't really use Poscas a lot. I used to use Poscas, but now I don't like it too much because it feels like a pen when I'm drawing with it. So I don't use Poscas too much. I'm going to bring back the pink palette.
Oh, okay.
How are we going time-wise, Ricky?
We've done an hour.
Wow, okay. So I think I probably didn't say it so much at the beginning, but we're looking at about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And I did want to, while I'm painting, I'll probably talk a little bit about the next Messy Middle and Art and Soul. While I'm painting, I'll just let you know what I've got coming up if you're interested in doing anything with me. I just first of all need to look at this palette and see where I want to push it because I need it to go. I mean, I do like the fact that it's just kind of going pink, but I might bring in a few slightly different colours just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to put a little bit more crimson-y colours on there.
Those colours though always look good on that canvas colour, that premium canvas.
These colours.
Yeah, they always look good against that.
I'm putting some just red. It's called Rose Madder because I want to get slightly more reds in there. And some more of the fluoro onto my palette. And I want to get something a little bit more purpley. I might bring in some of that permanent maroon. Oh, I've got some of that on there anyway. I'm going to bring some sky blue. It's a bit of a purpley blue, but I just need something else to pop. So I'm putting that on there as well.
Somebody's unmuted.
Okay. So because it's working so well for us, I hope you're all enjoying the song and paint. And I hope it helps you get into your painting a little bit too. So we might just do another song and we'll just kind of go full on into our pinks.
I want another song. Just put me on the spot now.
You should have these all prepared.
Well, you picked the flavors. It wasn't mine. You know what I would have gone with. What about?
Already used that brush for this, so I'm going to get rid of that one.
Okay.
Grabbing some different brushes.
Where are you? On the
Are you at palettes?
Okay.
So I've just taken all the brushes that were on the palette because there can be, you can automatically grab the same ones for the same painting, but I want to change it up. So these ones are quite soft. I'm just going to grab some of these.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I don't know if this is any good.
Okay. Painting.
Now that she's back in the atmosphere, the drops of Jupiter in her head. She acts like summer and walks like rain, reminds me that there's time to change. Since the return of her stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June. But tell me, did you sail across the sun? Did you make it to the Milky Way to see the lights all faded and that heaven is overrated? Tell me, did you fall for a shooting star? One without a permanent scar, and then you missed me while you were looking for yourself out there. Unless she's back from that soul vacation, tracing her way through the constellation. She checks out most of what she does tableau, reminds me that there's room to grow. Now that she's back in the atmosphere, I'm afraid that she might think I'm in. Ain't no change,
Okay. How'd you all go? Like for me, I put some purples on there, which is good because I got a bit more color happening on this, but it all started to blend together. So this is part of what happens when we're just kind of letting go and letting whatever happen. So it is where it is, and I get another layer, and I'll probably put something else onto my palette so it lights me up. I might go even deeper into, because that's all looking like mud. And like I say, I love intentional mud when I place it. At the moment, it's all starting to blend a bit much. So I need this to dry. So I wonder whether you're also getting to those points of where your paintings are starting to blend a little bit too much into each other. This needs to dry before I do anything else to it. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one.
No, yeah. Which one? Yeah. That one. Middle one?
Yeah. What's the problem? What's your problem? Right. I love this one. I'm really enjoying this one.
What are those?
Yeah. And, you know, like I often find that in a painting session. Here I've got 3 paintings. They're all in a completely different area. And there's kind of one palette that lights me up on the day. And today it's this palette, this blues and greys that are really lighting me up. So I'm kind of waiting for this one to come around. It's good. But before I start painting on this one, I hope you're all having fun and you're all painting at home. I'd love to see some of your canvases, some of your paintings. I can see some in the background. That's awesome.
Let me just go to the gallery. You'll be able to see a few more
Yeah.
on that.
Let's have a look at some of your oh, there you are. Amy, I can see you painting away and I can see some paintings in the background, which is awesome.
Sylvia, she's there.
Oh, Sandra, wow, that looks
that's great.
amazing.
Awesome.
Wow,
Awesome. Jane's got
beautiful.
one. That's Jane down
Jane,
there.
hi Jane, there you are. Love it, love it, love it.
Sylvina's one on the left.
Sylvina, that is, wow, beautiful.
Beverly there on the right, in the middle.
Kathleen Fairweather, there you are.
Hey.
I see you. It's a little bit like, oh, there we go. I love that, Sylvania. That's amazing.
Let's see on the next
Hi,
page.
Maggie.
Uh,
Okay, I can
Maggie.
see someone busy painting away, but their name's not up. There you are, Zoom user. Grabbing your bottle of white.
okay, that's
Awesome.
right.
Awesome. Oh, Beverly, that is beautiful.
Awesome.
Carrie, I see you painting in the background. That's so good.
Renee's there too.
Renee.
Yeah, down the bottom on the right there. Wavy.
Hey, Renee, how you doing? Good to see you.
Kerry's over
Hilda,
there.
there you are.
You see Kerry there? in the
Yep,
distance?
I've already, yep, Robbie.
Hilda up the top. Yep.
So good, so good. Yeah, so a lot of the people that I recognise at Painting Away have done the messy middle, and a lot of them will be doing it in March because they're in the year round of the messy middle. So that will be coming out in March. It's 5 weeks of painting through these layers. You know, because you often start paintings, you get all excited because they're here and there's lots to follow and there's lots of colour, and then it gets into that, a bit like my last one did, into that messy bit. And that's what the messy middle is, because so often artists stop there, they put aside their canvas and they start again. So how do you move through those bits where they're a bit more challenging, where you lose the beautiful bright colours that you started with? We moved through 5 weeks of different canvases, smaller ones, and then also working on bigger ones and moving through the different stages that we all go through and what happens when we get stuck and what are things we can do to get unstuck. So if you're interested in that, that will be, we'll be looking at putting that up. It begins in March.
March the 3rd, that begins.
March the 3rd, and we'll start sending out emails about that in February.
Yep.
The other thing is Art and Soul. This is much more of it's a 6-month, really full-on deep dive into all sorts of parts of what stops you in your art practice, also how to show up and be seen and get out there and be okay with showing your work. Also a little bit about I did 25 years in advertising and marketing, so also that side of things, how we can make ourselves brands and be seen, rather than relying on other people to do it. We can make ourselves into brands as artists, and I think it's a really important thing for us to think about the business side of art. And we'll also be doing lots of art together. There'll be I'm going to work through a little bit of a colour wheel over the 6 months where we dive into different colours and different colour combinations and map making. So it's good for getting your practice going over a 6-month period. We meet every week online. There's a lot of people today that have already signed up. There's only a couple of spots left. I'm nearly full on that one. So if you're interested, maybe just shoot me an email. That's hello@denirayneau.com. And I'm having a Zoom call with anyone, so just to make sure that you're a good fit for the group. The group's a really beautiful, beautiful group from all over the world, but it's small, so it's going to be an art tribe. We really get to know each other. You'll make friends, art friends that you'll have for a very long time. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email. But I'm going to do another layer on this. We've got enough time. I think we've got another 15 minutes. So we might put on another song. I'm going to, actually, I'll probably put just more of these dark tones on. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm just going to put stuff onto my palette and keep painting. So please keep painting along with me. We're going to be doing these paint parties regularly, completely free to show up. It's just fun. I love getting us all together and painting. So we're going to try next year to do these once a month. So
I don't know if we'll do one in December. It's a bit time restraints with Christmas coming up.
Yeah, maybe not December. In the new year we'll start them, but we'll try and do one a month where we just all get together. Hopefully a few of you, I'll get you on and you can talk us through what you're painting and stuff. Today's been a little bit more about getting these 3 paintings done. We might do some smaller work. We'll just work through whatever. Might even do a surfboard in one of them. That would be fun. I
don't think I've got any surfboards left. You've painted all the old ones already.
I'm sure we can find more.
I may have to buy some new ones to give you the old and new.
Yeah, good one, Ricky, good one. And we've also thought about bringing in some guest artists. One of Ricky's best friends, a tattooist. I thought it'd be fun to kind of get him painting on canvas as a tattoo artist. What would he do with one of these blank canvases? Yeah, and if you're in Sydney, maybe you can come along and paint one day with me too. So I'm going to paint this final one here. If you have any more questions, please put it into the chat. Mm-hmm. If you're struggling with anything on your canvas, I would love to answer any questions. But otherwise, I'm just going to go on this one and see where I can take it.
Now, Hilda, you're still hanging in there. It's after midnight, I think, over where you are. Oh, dear. Well done.
Hilda. Okay, it's beautiful. Some of that. And
which palette are you working on? The middle one there?
I'm doing this one.
No, the palette.
Oh, the paint palette. Yeah, this one. Yeah. Oh, do I need to move it? No, it's okay.
That's all right, yeah. Director needs you to follow all his instructions.
And yellow. Where's my yellow gone? Here it is. Put some of this one on there. Some more of this. Just put, I like to get a lot onto the palette before I start doing a song so that I can, and I don't have to worry about putting more stuff on there. And hopefully I like the combination that I've created, but I'm keeping within the same family. I've got a slightly different yellow. I chose the nickel as a yellow from Golden. I think I was using the transparent yellow before, so I'm just, I like going between different ones that are tonally, if I put a little bit of that on there, then I can blend it enough that it should go really nicely on the palette. But it's too early for me to be thinking about keeping the palette too much in one direction, as in I will introduce other colours to the palette board still at this early stage.
You keep mentioning One Direction. I'm not playing One Direction.
One Direction. Are they still around? I don't think so. Okay, so we play another song, Ricky.
I think I've got one. Where is it? There.
Well, I grab a couple of brushes.
Hang on a sec.
1, 2, 3.
What was the one?
Turn it Big wheels keep on turning, carry me home just like you. Singing songs about the Southland,
That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but I put that yellow here that I put on my palette, and it was so wrong. And that happens, like that one was beautiful, and this one was just in this really took the palette somewhere else, which meant that I had to try and separate my palette because it's on there and I'm painting for a song. So I struggled around here, but I quite like all that. That's an opportunity for me now. I can see that could take me somewhere. But look, this is where I'm at. It's an early stage on a painting that I think I'll continue these 3 on YouTube so that you can see where I end up with them, because this is a great beginning, but I'm interested to see where they go, as I'm sure you are as well.
Yep.
But there's so much cool stuff to work with here. So I hope you guys got to somewhere that you're really enjoying on your paintings as well. If you're wondering why I'm looking down there, I'm looking at the screen of all of you on the screen.
Well, let's do a quick run around the group if they want to show their paintings, eh? If I put that on, back to the gallery, you
Can we see any where you've all ended up? I would love to see.
Okay, so we've got up the top.
Oh, I can see. Yes, beautiful. I wish I knew your name. You've got a beautiful blue and yellow painting going on, but your name's not on your Zoom. And Mackenzie, that looks amazing. Sandra, amazing. Amy, and Kathleen, I can see where you're at. Beverly, beautiful.
Joe's got the pink one there at the top.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing, pink
Sylvina's
explosion.
got the other one there on the middle at the right.
Sylvina, that is amazing.
Eric's
Look
got
at
one
you
in
all
the
go.
distance over there. See the bottom one there?
Oh, yeah. Eric.
Looks good, mate.
Hey, Eric. Awesome. Hi, Lynn. Can't see what you're painting, Lynn, but I'm sure you're painting away.
I'll go to no, Lynn's not in the studio at the moment.
Okay, Lynn. Beautiful that you're here, though. Jane, I can see you painting away. That's amazing.
Jane's got the world's biggest easel and the smallest canvas.
Awesome. So good to see. I hope you've all enjoyed it. We'll get a little bit better with how we put it all together, but I just wanted to get on and have one of these things happen because we thought it would be fun.
Yep.
But we'll get better as we do them. But I hope you've enjoyed today. Really enjoyed being here with all of you in your studios. Please come along to the next one. It will be in January. So because you've signed up here, we will definitely send you all the invitation link. You don't have to.
Sure.
Which will be up sometime, probably beginning of January.
Christmas?
Merry Christmas, everyone. Well, actually, Thanksgiving to anyone in the States.
Yeah.
Have a great Christmas or whatever your celebration is going into December. And, it's a really good time to look back on your year at what you've painted. I bet you don't realise how many great paintings you've done over the last year. I know one of my beautiful students, Chris, I don't know if you're on, Chris, said, I don't think I've painted hardly anything this year. And then we went through some of the stuff she'd done, and she's got so many good works. So we can forget about the stuff that we've done during the year. So I always use this time to go back and look at all the things I've created. It's a good thing to put up onto Instagram too, a little bit of this has been my year in paint. So thank you so much for being here. It's been an hour and a half and I've really enjoyed it. And I'll see you in January.
Yeah. Hang on. Bye. I'm just sending a message. There you go. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Bye. So good to see you.
Thanks heaps. This is such a great
Enjoy
day.
Your weekend. Hope you've enjoyed starting it this way.
And thanks for joining us in Australia, the earlier ones. That'd be you, Robbie. You're probably the earliest. So, in Adelaide.
We'll try and do a paint party for Australia where we can have a glass of champagne together and enjoy paint.
You could have had a champagne breakfast.
It's a bit early.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Bye.